You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD. That's Chris McFeely. That's Nicole Hale. That's Chris Triplett. Howdy, gang.
Howdy.
Woohoo! So, it is Fanboy Versus Marketing Appeal, as we try to pull back the layers of DC's new logo and see what it has in store for us.
I see what you did there.
Ah, yes! So,
I'll tell you what I think has marketing appeal. These delicious tangy cheese brand Doritos brand pork chips.
if we were only getting money for that.
God, we need to get a sponsor from them. You have a jingle on your soundboard, or do you have a soundboard?
I have no soundboard, unfortunately. That's more of a throw money at problems, Brian Kilby sort of thing.
I still say Cool Ranch is better.
That's
Yes.
They don't even call it that over
sorry,
here.
I'm gonna
honestly.
adjust
It's
my
Cool
camera
Original.
here. There we go. That's beautiful. Okay. Yeah. We talked at one time about having a snack food podcast. We should do that.
That's 5 minutes long, and it's me sitting there going.
Oh no! If behind the scenes, this is a reason to listen to the pre-show for any of our shows. You would not believe listening to Rob Springer, Brian Kilby, and even John sometimes go on and on about snack food before we're going into show. It's just
This off-brand American snack food I've never heard of.
well, not even that, but like cereal. Like when it comes around to like the Halloween, and it's like chocolate, the Frankenberry, and all those
Frankenberry,
all the
Blueberry,
Blueberry.
and Count Chocula. My
Yes.
gosh, how can you not know this?
because believe it or not,
I have like one prevailing thing that we don't have those cereals over here. We're not big on the fruit. In fact, it's not that we're not big on it. It just doesn't exist over here. You don't have fruit flavor cereal over here. It's not done.
You want
It's
to know what I
weird.
find is the most shocking is I have to send boxes and boxes of Lucky Charms to your fellow Irishmen there. How can they
Well,
not have
we
Lucky
did-
Charms in Ireland?
We did have
Really?
it for we had it for a while, but everybody universally was fucking revolted by the nasty little marshmallows. we have a cereal. I don't think you have the cereal over there. It's called Ricicles, which is you know the way Frosted Flakes, or Frosties as we call them, are sugar coated cornflakes. Well, Ricicles are sugar coated Rice Krispies.
okay, that sounds awesome.
Now, this was 10 years ago and more. Jesus, it must be nearly 20. Fuck, I'm old. They put marshmallows in Ricicles, and
Brilliant.
nobody fucking touched them. They had to bring back the old ones.
Wow. So wait a
Marshmallow,
minute.
it's not sweets for breakfast, fruit flavored candy type things for Cookie Crisp. No, can't get it.
I
It's
feel
not
like
something you have over here. We don't do it.
I feel like we glossed over something though. You're saying you don't have Lucky Charms in Ireland.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also a racist caricature.
Okay, well, there is that. I guess we don't have like Yankee Doodle cereal in America. So.
Shoot, I think we need Yankee Doodle
So
cereal.
somebody get in there, make that.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I whenever mention and somebody mentions Count Chocula, because I've never had it, I only know it from pop culture references. One thing I always remember because the one thing I laughed the hardest at over it was it was actually a Wikipedia article of all things. It was a table of vampire traits. So it was like character from weaknesses, unique characteristics, and it'd be like, so they have all historical vampires on there, hideous, handsome, Twilight's on there, it's like, sparkles in sunlight, and it was like, Count Chocula was listed on there, and under appearances, it was delicious.
Brilliant.
And under weaknesses, it was turned soggy in milk. It's gone now. Some joyless fuck took it off.
Oh, those bastards. That was probably the MPAA. I blame them. So, anyway.
Awesome.
So we're a comic book podcast. And we love talking about comic books. So the only real piece of news to talk about this week is something that we sort of previewed, I guess, about a week or 2 weeks ago. DC officially announced this week that they have changed their logo.
Yes, it will
Wow.
be.
Wait. Let me get my excited on. Yay!
Yeah. Now,
Bring back the bullet.
if you ask them, they will tell you how brilliant it is.
What I want to know though is there something wrong with me because I kind of just don't get it.
Well,
No, it's weird and dumb. It manages to obscure both D and C. You know, way to go.
yeah.
I
So-
noticed that they made a big deal of explaining why it is the way it is, but I'm thinking, why do you have to explain a logo?
Well, exactly. You shouldn't have to, and that's the deal. Is like it's pulling back the layer, so you're peeling back. You know, it's like a lot of DC heroes have a secret identity, so it's like peeling back the secret identity. I think DC women kicking ass.
I think it's supposed to be a page turning,
Yeah, it's
that
pages,
would make
but I-
sense, but that's not
but because it's the letter D, it's curved, so it
Right.
does look like you're peeling a sticker off,
exactly.
not turning a page.
I
It's
don't
to
like
play, it'll play very well, I think, on iPads and things because you
Yeah.
have that dumb graphic whenever you swipe a page.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
Okay, this is coming from I like change. I like it when something is new, but this just doesn't work.
I don't. I'm interested to see how long it actually lasts. I mean, because
it'll last.
I think it was DC women kicking ass described it as looking like a toilet seat. Which now that she
does.
said that, I can't
God.
not see that.
I can't not see it. Yeah,
Oh my gosh!
I've got it
Oh
up in
my
front of me
gosh.
here.
So yeah,
I like the adaptability of it.
yeah, I
I've seen
do.
a couple of variations, but I think the problem is that I can only tell what two of these variations are for. Obviously, the glowing green one is Green Lantern, and I feel a little bile rise in my throat when I look at the Watchman one.
Oh God, yeah, it's like,
Well,
hey, let's
I mean,
stick the
that-
arrow on there. Yeah,
But I don't know what there's a plain like metallic one. There's this like one that's like giving off sparks, like it's made like welding sparks. and some
Firestorm
orange.
maybe. I don't.
And maybe the Flash. I don't know. There's one that's like giving off. There's like a fog shrouded moon, which is maybe the Dark, or is it Batman?
Batman?
And then there's this other one that's just like a big dildo.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean that's all there is. That's what it is. I mean, I think maybe this is ironic, but maybe it's supposed to be Catwoman because it's all leather black, and is that supposed to be her whip coiled around it?
That's kind of what I thought. Maybe.
But you know, dildo wouldn't be a bad association for Catwoman either.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
gosh!
I've been playing like Arkham City and finally going through and playing some of the Catwoman stuff, and it's just like, oh man, how did you
Yeah.
not like feel disgusting even writing this stuff?
I know.
So-
Hey,
so
bitch! Bitch, get over here, bitch! Hey,
Yeah.
bitch!
I haven't played any video games, but do you feel like you had to take a shower afterwards after you play?
Especially
as
the Catwoman stuff. It's so bad.
It's skeevy as all hell,
It
but it's
really
pure
is.
video game, so I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah.
I'm still more offended by the Penguin's broken bottle in the face.
Yeah, it really is stupid. But we go on about that. So anyway, new DC logo. I guess they said that's effective immediately, and they showed
yeah,
a bunch
coming out
of
in March.
yeah, they showed it on a bunch of like trades and different stuff. So kind of
they
giving
changed
Probably
their
should.
Twitter logo because I've been
Yep.
following DC, and that's how I first saw it. When I saw it, I was like, "What the hell is that?" Oh, that's
Yeah.
DC Comics.
Yeah,
because
they-
I didn't even know it when I saw it, and I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah, they announced it and changed it almost immediately. So
I still like the bullet. I like the bullet the best.
They've showed
Yeah.
it on a couple of things, like a couple of images where they actually really play up the the page turning effect as well. One for Superman, one for Flash, one for Batman, and it's like, if you're gonna make it look like the thing's curled at the bottom, it's not a page. A page ends in a point.
now
only, and
let me ask about that though, because isn't it kind of antiquated to do a page turning logo if they're I mean they're really doing this
they're
day
trying to
same day
be-
digital push and everything. And now we're the entire logo is wrapped around a page turn. Like,
yeah.
did I miss something? So I don't know. But you know, for an entire generation, they're going to be like, "No, we love the page turn." You know. So
I just was fine with the current DC Comics
swoosh.
logo. I mean,
Yeah.
I prefer
looked
it.
fine to me. I don't get it why they had to change it, but
It's like the swoosh looks like an evolution of the bullet. You know,
Right.
It's still
Yeah.
got the circular feel. It's just like the DC but it's like the bullet viewed at an angle. And the DC busting out of it. You know?
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking like the comics is DC, and then I look at this new logo, and like I said at first, I didn't know what it was. It doesn't look like a DC.
Nope.
Yeah, that's the
Looks like a toilet seat.
I mean, it looks a little less corporate now that they've shown us all the variations for it, but
Right, yeah. I mean, and I do like I do like the variations in that sense that it does give it a little bit of
its
identity.
adaptability is interesting.
And apparently the entertainment one is the black and white, and there's a blue one that's just a comic. So, but I don't know. They may feature some of those variation logos on some of the different titles. I wonder if these are just examples of the different title logos, and then we'll see what they end up being attached to.
Maybe.
So
I mean, the sample images they show Green Lantern and it's just green. They show Batman and it's ochre for some reason. Blue on Superman, red on Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So is there any reason for Marvel to update its logo now?
No. Okay.
Marvel has been subtly and steadily making changes to its logo for years now without making a big thing of it, though. Well, you just turned around one day and suddenly the big M with comics written through it was gone. They didn't make a big stink about it.
But maybe, and here we go again, because this is like, again, the larger difference between DC and Marvel, where we talk about Marvel is fine making subtle, small changes along the way, backing up their timeline, things are sort of fluid, whereas DC has this like rigid continuity, and then it's like they can't just subtly change their logo. It's got to one day suddenly be something different, and they change their whole continuity
Not to mention,
as well.
Marvel's logo is ingrained in people's minds now as part of
The film
logo at the start of films. Now,
Yeah.
DC was just gaining penetration with their old one on Green Lantern and... Was it on the Dark? It was on the Dark.
Sure.
It was on the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's on Dark Knight.
But it wasn't on Batman Beyond, wasn't it? Begins.
I don't think so.
I don't think it was on
think
Batman
it was.
Begins or Superman. So 2, maybe 3 films they've managed to get that on. I know they're changing. So,
Yeah.
penetration, fuck market penetration.
Yeah. Screw that. Who needs that? Not DC. They're huge. But hey, I did hear that Green Lantern won the People's Choice for Best Superhero Movie Character.
Is
Really?
that true?
That's what I heard.
I
and
heard
I like.
Quentin Tarantino put it on his list of best films from the year. I hadn't heard about the people choosing it.
Yeah, I think it was on the People's Choice. So, which I
Well, that is
literally
weird because it's not like it was actually popular, and it's not like
Well-
critics savaged it, but it made money. Like it just tanked.
And it blew my mind because I really thought, okay, there's got to be a corporate tie-in here, because what was it last year or a couple of years ago? It's usually like the sexiest man alive and People or whatever usually happens to be whatever person is in like a Warner Brothers, film.
Megan.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this
or,
year was
Paramount.
Ryan Reynolds' sexiest man.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. So there you go. But but I tried to find a corporate tie, and I could not find it. I mean, it seemed like even contrary because. The best ties would have been like Paramount, and they're the ones that did the Marvel stuff. And Marvel's DC, I don't know if it just was very confusing to me. I don't know how they came up with that because Green Lantern was just not on anybody's radar, and there were so many better superhero movies this year.
Oh
I
yeah.
guess Ryan Reynolds.
X-Men First Class. X-Men First Class.
Yeah, X-Men First Class, excellent.
I still say Thor.
Thor. Yeah, Thor was good.
Love Thor.
Absolutely.
And Thor
So-
had a really good shirtless scene. Come on. Green Lantern didn't give it that.
Several, but anyway, even shirted scenes. Anyway, so there you go. I think that's about it for the news. Though it was really nothing.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
there was nothing
sad.
this week.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
sad. Well, Marvel was at retreat. They had their retreat this week, so I don't think we were going to see much out of Marvel because they were all hanging out, talking about story ideas for the next year. And DC's big thing was the logo. So there you go. But awesome. Well, that gives us more time to review some of the really great comics that came out this week. But unfortunately, they didn't. So we're going to talk about the other comics that came out.
Ouch!
No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. No,
Hard.
no, I'm kidding. It was a joke. It was just not. It wasn't like a. oh my god, blow you away week. But there was some really good stuff here, in particular Amazing Spider-Man, which we're going to talk about at the end of the show. Which is, as I described it, the best Doctor Who episode featuring Spider-Man.
And apparently Dan Slott agrees with
Dan Slott apparently agreed with that since he retweeted it. So,
Always fun whenever a creator retweets you.
I know. It's it's like, it's so childish, but I can't not, like, be like, he noticed me. I'm gonna throw my it's like throwing my panties on stage, it's like,
The digital equivalent.
The digital equivalent of throwing my panties on stage and having him pick them up and go.
Oh man.
We're off to a good start.
Yeah, just posting the tweet is throwing them, and then him retweeting it is the picking up.
Right, you gotta have the whole thing. Have him pick them up and go. So anyway.
Wait, I just got to get out of my mind that you wear pants.
Only on Saturdays.
And it's the last time that Dan Slott will ever retweet one of your competition.
Hopefully he's not listening to this show going, what? Anyway, all right. Little special treat for all our listeners out there.
Oh my gosh, you talk about going down to the toilet.
Oh, man. All right, so Chris Triplett, save us. Dear God, what do you have to review, sir?
Oh, Lord, I don't know if I can save us or not. And in the same way, I don't think anyone can save poor Batman.
No.
Or not. In this new issue of Batman by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, we have not been talking enough about Batman because...
What is wrong with us?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened because like every issue.
Well, you're the only one's been getting it. None of the rest of us have been.
I've been getting. Wait, I've been getting it. I just haven't been reading it.
And I just started.
I have it. I just haven't read it.
You need to read them. And you might want to turn. You might want to turn like your headset off because I'm going to spoil the hell out of it. And I want to spoil.
That's okay because I'll probably. I mean, I've been forgetting a lot of things lately, so I'll probably forget what you talked about after we shut off this podcast.
But yeah, like of the DC books, it's like we've been like talking about all this stuff, and I guess it's just kind of falling through the cracks because there's so many comics that comes out. I mean, there's like so much awesome stuff that comes out, and maybe just it's off weeks or something. Like this will come out, and it'll kind of be like when we get a whole bunch of books or something. But we really should
this week.
Do what?
It's always this week.
Yeah.
Third week.
I don't know. Something happened, and we haven't been talking about it, and I need to rectify that because this book is good. This is one of the best books DC's putting out right now. And it's not just because it's Batman. I mean, I love Batman, but like it's interesting. And I want to talk about this issue just because of like it just like just crazy, messed up, kind of a trippy issue.
Well, especially since we haven't been talking about it. I mean, just to lay a little bit of foundation, what they've done with this relaunch is, it's not like they've really put Batman in a different world. I think he's obviously maybe seems a little bit younger than he has seemed previously, but they've built up this perfectly plausible mythos where there's this little almost like children's nursery rhyme involving the owls are watching, and that if you do something that they don't like, then they'll send the Talon after you and take your head.
The Court of Owls watches all the time, rolling Gotham from a shadowed perch behind granite and lime. They see you at your hearth, and they see you in your bed. Speak not a whispered word about them, or they'll send the Talon for your head. That's creepy as shit!
It's creepy as hell, but it's perfectly plausible that it exists. And the reason is because Batman in his very early day, like when he's a kid, he actually suspects this based on the nursery rhyme that they were behind his parents' murder. And
that was the last issue. That was great.
And he investigates and ends up like getting hurt, I think, even in the process. But
like he couldn't believe that something so random as like just some dude robbing his parents. That it could just be this random mugger just robbing them. He thought it had to be a higher purpose, and it had to be this group. It had to be this Court of Owls, So his first case was to prove that the Court of Owls exists,
which he couldn't. He couldn't find any evidence, and even looked at it a couple of other times throughout his career and never found anything. So you get this perfectly good plausible reason because why would he talk about it? it was just like, it's perfectly plausible that you hadn't heard of it because he wouldn't talk about it because there's not any evidence of it. So it's perfect.
Yeah, he even talked about like, well, why didn't you ever follow up more on it? And he said, well, I learned a lesson, when that happened, because like he said, he got hurt. He says like take emotion out of your detective,
Right.
your what you're doing, because if emotion will lead you down the wrong path, you need to look at everything analytical, and that's why he never went back to it. He's like, yeah, I learned my lesson, and this was just a child's story basically.
But there's been a series of murders, and there's starting to be some indication that the court is real, and he's even finding evidence to that. So in the last issue, he's even like finding these rooms that seem to be set up going back through the entire history of Gotham, that seem to allude to. He knows that there's this character that is going by or seems to be the Talon that's killing these people.
Yeah,
And
the
he's trying
Talon
to-
is like the assassin for the Court of Owls. Like if the Court of Owls is supposed to be like a group of just these powerful men in Gotham, and
It's an Illuminati sort of.
yeah, and the
analog.
Talon is their assassin. That like if somebody gets too close or they need to bump somebody off, they send this dude out to get them. And it looks like he's got his sights on Batman now.
Well, and so in the last issue, he was investigating these like secret floors in buildings, and it's tied even to his family as well. And in one of them, he like trips a wire and explodes, and they end up capturing him, and he ends up at the end of the last issue in this labyrinth. So this entire issue. I'm sorry, Triplet. It's your review. Go ahead with
Yeah.
now that we're into the issue.
Well,
Now
that's
that we've
fine.
laid
Caught up now.
now that we've
Yeah,
laid the
it's-
framework, you
No,
can
it's
go.
good it's good stuff.
It's good catch up, because like it helps to make the new issue make a little bit more sense, because so like Batman got captured by this Talon guy, and at the end of the last issue he's now in this labyrinth, and then like at the beginning of the next issue you find out that Batman's been missing for 8 days. So like for 8 days he's been gone. Like there's this great scene at the beginning in which Jim Gordon has the bat signal on, and he's Bullock is like talking to him, says, well, the thing, it's gonna die soon if you don't turn it off, and he's talking about the bat signal, and he says like the bulb's gonna blow or something, and like Gordon's like, no, we got to leave it on. We got to like remind everybody that that he's still out there. We can't just let him forget. And there's like you basically see like all the Bat characters, and they're searching for Batman, and nobody can find him. And so he's just trying to give hope to Gotham while Batman's gone, and then we see where Batman's at. And he's still in the labyrinth.
He's wandering through this labyrinth.
Just wandering through the labyrinth, trying to get out. And he's just it's the best way to describe it is that the whole issue is Batman's descent into madness. I mean, he's
Now, I hadn't been reading Batman, right? I mean, I've been keeping up on what was going on. I knew about the Court of Owls and the whole idea and everything. And I picked this issue up in the store, give it a quick flip through as I normally do, and I got to that bit, and I was like, Batman is losing his shit.
yeah,
And that's uncommon enough.
I know.
But I was like, just the idea of Batman trapped in this miles-long maze underground, like literally thrown into a scenario that he couldn't deal with it. He didn't know he was in there for forever. This is the sort of thing doesn't happen to Batman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole concept just I was like, you know what? Everybody's talking good about this book. I know Scott Snyder is a good writer. I'm just gonna put this down, and I put the issue down. I'm going to get the trade of this collection now, based off the first few pages of this issue,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it wasn't
It's-
even, as I understand it, as good as it got.
And the art really, I mean, is very much on par with the writing here because.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for one thing, Batman is drawn in this issue. We're used to the full cow with like the white eyes, but
Yeah.
one of his like the lens and eye is like ripped out, so
I
you
see
see the bare eye on one side, and then the very sort of Batman wide eye on the other, and I mean, it is amazing how much you can just see through that eye, through the course. I mean, it becomes very much a window into Batman's soul.
Yeah.
As you're going through the issue, because the eye just keeps showing up, and you see.
He's looking
You know.
so ragged too. Like that eye just it looks. You can tell like he's losing it.
Yeah.
It's bloodshot. There's like red. There's like even the colors. Yeah, the bloodshot around his eye. That you're
Well,
seeing.
and look at the palette. I mean, even the colors for this. The palette is almost entirely I mean, it's all shades of gray, except for the occasion where there is something that's like out of place or something that maybe he's even hallucinating, and those are presented in color.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a wild palette. I mean, there's one room that's full of like
Just
caskets, and you know the caskets are all in red, and yet everything else is almost entirely black and white or very muted. So, I mean, I don't. There's no way. I don't think Chris or I could really go through the issue and tell you much more than what happened. About what happens, because it would totally give it away, and it doesn't give it any credit.
Without giving it away, though, just to say, like, as you go through the story, and I'm not going to give away like what happens. Batman's like losing it. He's like really losing it. But as he's losing it, you're sort of going on that journey with him. I mean, and you're sort of getting the aspects of that journey.
Because if it's not just the wacky panels, it's also the fact that the orientation of the page layouts change.
I was trying not to give that part away.
Well,
that's what I
think you have to.
I think you have to, but that's all I'll say is just the orientation of the page layouts change, and it really messes with your perception as well. God help you if you're trying.
Sometimes you're reading it sideways. Sometimes you have to turn it upside down, and it's not just the way you have to turn it.
Yeah,
it's not just the way you have to turn it. Like you have to actually go and follow it down left to right, right to left, back and forth like a snake. This
could get a little confusing now.
Yeah.
So
which page do you read first?
I mean, I think it's all. I went back to look at the issue after I found that this was in it because I'm not going to pass up a chance to look at that.
Yeah.
I think that the best thing about it, though, is that it is very well put together in the sense that you're never actually lost for what bit it is you're supposed to be reading next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might go, wait, what? Oh,
like,
okay.
like it doesn't completely
right
turn. It doesn't completely turn it upside down. Like you'll go from one like normal view and then it'll turn on its side,
and then you'll follow it right.
Yeah.
And then you'll follow it, and you're following it like you're following a labyrinth.
And
what's so great about it.
Oh, okay, I get it. I get that now. Okay, that makes sense.
And once you read like a stream of panels across to the right, and then the next row down is from right to left, even though your urge would be to go move your eyes back to the left and start again. The speech bubbles guide you down through it in a twist.
And
you don't
I
know where you're look.
I just hugely spoiled myself, but that's okay.
Oh no,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So
it's so good, but like like I was telling JD before, is like after reading this, I don't know if I've ever. I mean, I've never like anticipated the next issue of a comic. I think so bad because I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
Issue 6, and I don't want to give away like what happens at the end of this issue, but
I don't know, so don't.
But like, there's this scene at the very end of the comic which involves the bat signal, which I just thought was just great.
Yeah.
And it's because remember at the beginning of the issue, Gordon's keeping the bat signal on all week long as Batman's lost in the labyrinth, and then you can probably realize what's going to happen with the bat signal, but it just works so well with what happens in the story, and it's so good. I mean, it's a crime we haven't been talking about it, and I felt like we needed to talk about this issue, and it just so happens this issue came out the week that we needed to talk about it, so it all works out well.
Did you say one of you guys downloaded this digitally?
No, but God help you if you did.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So
how difficult it would be to read this digitally if you didn't know. This is like a comic definitely made for a physical comic reader, and I think that's just says something with the digital push that it's still kind of more of a physical comic reader in mind with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to read it
for experimentation and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, yeah, this speaks to exactly the kind of things we're talking about. It's like use your medium. This is a perfect example of using the medium that you have available to tell the story. You can't do that even in a novel, but you can do it here. So it's great.
I mean, this looks beautiful. I can't actually wait to go and read it.
Yeah. So
Capullo's art is just great. Like I hate to always compare him to Todd McFarlane, but it's like Todd McFarlane's doing a Batman comic, but it's like the best art that Todd McFarlane ever done. So like, maybe I'm like doing him justice by saying, "Hey, you're better than Todd McFarlane."
So,
but it's great.
I still think it's a terrible shame that Grant Morrison's stuff had to be just shuttled to the side before it was finished in the name of the New 52, but Snyder is definitely a worthy successor to it. It's just a shame it didn't get finished first. And definitely the fact that the art seems to be living up to the story is something that was not happening for a large part of Morrison's run when you had Tony Daniels' scrawlings on there.
Yeah.
I mean, he worked with a lot of great talents, too. You had J.H. Williams on there, you had Frank Whiteley, you had a lot of other top guys on it as well, but I don't know, who decided to put him with Tony Daniel? So it's good that Capullo and Snyder are working well together.
Yep. Yeah, if you're, and, final thought, if you're like me and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not reading something Batman, this is it. Read this.
Yeah. Like, I really like that first issue of Detective Comics, but, like, if you compare the 5 issues of Detective to the 5 issues of Batman,
not even close.
You can't really compare them, and it's amazing how good it is. And before we completely leave it, I did read something because I was just kind of like reading what other people were, kind of like commenting about this issue. I saw a comment that I noticed that they said that as Batman descends into this madness, his the way Capullo draws the art is he actually makes his cape even more ragged and torn as it goes,
and long and just
yeah, that's just
it's like Arkham City.
Yeah.
The longer it goes on, the more tattered he gets.
Yep.
It's so great. It was a great. I loved it.
Yep. It's good stuff. Pick it up. Get the hard copy. Read it.
I'm gonna.
So awesome.
Hardcover's out in May.
Cannot wait till issue 6.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Very good. Nicole, then it is.
All right. Well, I'm going to change it up a little bit here. I'm going to review something that cost me $1. Yeah. From Dynamite Comics, they always put out high quality stuff.
So it's Army of Darkness versus who this week?
This is Lord of the Jungle, Tarzan. Yay!
Is it actually Tarzan?
It actually is. Now, if you don't know the story of Tarzan, here you go. This is pretty much the whole story. At the very beginning, you say this little flashback, no words or anything. You just see him finding the old hut where his parents were at, and he's going through it, and you see the skeletal remains of his parents, and he finds also a book that they brought.
And Peru?
And so that's just your introduction. You see him going around, and then you have this splash page of him just on this hut where his parents were at. And then you go back into the time of how did his parents get here? What happened? Why were they exiled? And then you find out his parents were exiled, and his mom was pregnant with him at the time. Of course, that didn't even save them. And basically survival, you see them wrestling around with, building a home and some shelter, and then they're having problems with the Congo natives, which were the gorillas. You got the gorillas here who are causing a little commotion. And of course, if you don't know that, basically, if you don't know anything about Tarzan, you realize he was raised by gorillas. So hello. So you find out that his mom is also died after giving birth to him, and his dad was soon killed by these gorillas. And basically, what happens is you also see a bunch of natives getting into a little, I guess, scuff with the real gorillas, So, and a mama gorilla does have kind of her son killed, and she finds this baby, and so this is kind of disturbing. She replaces the baby in the crib because the baby Tarzan wasn't killed, and she replaces it with her dead baby of the gorilla. So that was kind of interesting to see.
What? My baby's dead. I'm gonna put it in this cradle like I don't care, and take this living human baby.
So she's looking at it like, oh, this baby's alive. I mean, it's really weird because you see the gorillas in here. They have emotions, and she's pissed off that her baby got killed because he broke his neck on a rock. And so she sees this other hairless kind of gorilla, and she's like, well, this one's alive, so I'll just exchange it.
So they have emotions, but they're dumb?
The thing is, that's basically your first story. You see how Tarzan comes to be and how he's raised by gorillas. It's very... it would have been a lot better story if they didn't have the gorillas with speech bubbles making noises.
Oh,
I
no.
was going to say, do they actually
Yeah.
talk? So you just
It would've
get...
been- Yeah, exactly. That's what you have. You have a bunch of rawr and you know, and you just
Do they have subtitles and like a little star that says translated from the gorilla language or something? Like that?
By
think I would-
Timber and Steve.
I would have taken this comic a lot more serious if they would have just done no speech bubbles, just panel by panel, these emotions that the gorillas are having, instead of, you know, putting. I mean, they also have kind of like a, you know, 50s Batman. They have a thwack, and you know, them showing them making these
Nothing wrong
different
with
pound
Doug,
noises. Yeah, so I would have liked it much better if they would have just had that. But you're trying to take it seriously, and you're just like, okay, this is kind of comedical. But
I
you
can
have,
definitely see how there's something of a disconnect there if the comic is otherwise basically silent because there's no
Yeah.
people. And then,
Well,
you know,
there's
should have just gone the full hog and just done it. Maybe use like sound effects for the
Yeah.
gun. But to have a load, just to have the page
Actually-
full of speech bubbles and then there not even actually be any dialogue in it. That's kind of weird, yeah.
the thing is, you know, the cover looks great. They have these. The
Did
cover
Frank
looks.
Show throw it?
Cover is by Alex Ross.
Oh, close. It would have been my second guess.
Mm.
The cover looks amazing, and the first pages are great. But then when you actually, the humans look really well. But once you get into the comics, there's some of the emotions with the gorillas. It looks very comedical, and you're just like, you're trying to take this seriously because they're fighting their own war, and the humans are fighting their own war. But you kind of get out of place when you actually see kind of their faces. But
Who's the creative?
the creative team is written by Arvid Nelson and illustrated by Roberto Castro. Now, again, it's great. It's for a buck. It's a great story if you don't know anything about Tarzan.
Is it $1 just to get you like for the first issue and then it goes up in price? Is that
I'm
how
not
it
sure.
works?
Not sure.
Is
I
this
know
number 1 or is it number 0?
this is number 1. Yeah. Because, well, I also picked up from Dynamite last month, or like a couple weeks ago, Flash Gordon, and I believe it's still $1. So.
Well, I don't know about the quality, but quantity, definitely Dynamite's throwing it out there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I imagine we can expect a miniseries dedicated to Kerchak and Kala in a few months' time, and then we'll have the adventures of Jane before she came to the jungle in a separate ongoing series.
Because Dynamite loves doing that boring backstory that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah. Like I said, if
And
you
then
don't
we'll
know
have Tarzan of the future.
Well, let me know when it's Army of Darkness versus Tarzan, because I might look
Oh,
into
that
that.
cannot be far away.
Oh, yeah.
Jedi apes.
like I said, I would so read that.
You get Ash saying, "Damn dirty."
That's possibly more entertaining. Tarzan, Planet of the Apes, could not be far off.
Uh,
A portal will just open up in the middle of the jungle, and he'll go through for a little laugh, and then it'll come back. It'll be fine.
Like I said, for a buck, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't paid more than $2 for a comic of this. Like, I know the story of Tarzan. I grew up with it, you know, but who knows where it could go to. So,
okay.
yeah. So there you
Cool.
go. My odd review for the week. So, if you want to see some gorillas do some talking, there you go.
Awesome.
Wants to see some gorillas do talking. So,
Yeah.
and if you want to see a
I can't
baby
see if
exchange.
I didn't read any other books with that in it this week.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, and you want to see a baby exchange happen. That's
Right.
quite
Swap a dead one for a live one.
interesting. I'll admit, there was this really cute panel with the mama gorilla holding Tarzan, and she's tickling his chin. It's really cute. It's one of those moments, you know.
She ate his face.
And then she ate his face. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that comes to me. 2 quick mentions before I get to my review of Ghost Rider, because apparently I'm the only person that loves this. First off is I actually read the second issue of Voltron, and it's not so much that I wanted to review
Dynamite
it.
as well, isn't
That's
it?
Dynamite as well. I'm intrigued by this comic, not because it's good, but because I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like I mean, it's not like a train wreck because it's not that bad, but it's just like watching this thing happen and you can't look away. So Voltron.
So it's a car wreck, is what you're saying?
Maybe it's a car wreck and like nobody's hurt, but it's just
It's like a movie car wreck.
Yeah, like a movie car wreck because it's just.
There's damage to the car, but nobody actually got hurt.
I mean,
so you can't
Voltron
look
appears
at-
on 2 panels of this. Most of this deals with some political backstory, and I mean, it's a lot of people talking. But it's interesting in the sense of I don't know how they're setting this up. So I don't know. If you're into the bizarre, maybe check that out. The other thing I'll mention, just because I think it started this week, was Autocracy. It came out, and that's
I haven't read this yet.
digital only. It's $1.
why.
You can get it on Comixology and
I need to
think
get that.
a couple other sources. But it's Chris Menson and Flint Dilley on the story, and then the art is the guy that did Chaos. What is his?
Livio Ramondelli.
Yeah, so it looks terrible and it reads okay, but it's Chris Metzen, and like I said, he's well known for a lot of the writing that he's done for World of Warcraft. I think he's done something on Transformers previously as well.
No, not before. No.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought he did, but anyway, so it might go somewhere else. It sort of read like something I had already read before. I gave a lot of thoughts on it on RFC this past week, so if you're interested.
RFC.
I do a review of Gorillas, and it just goes right to JD's.
I know. I'm like, I've got
It's going
Gorillas
in there now.
on my mind. So, and I just haven't
Gorillas
flipped. There's a preview in my Ghost Rider for Amazing Spider-Man 680, and I love the tagline for this because it shows Spider-Man
Oh,
in
yeah.
a spacesuit, and it says, "In space, no one can hear you thwip."
Yeah.
Brilliant. Anyway.
And this is him getting back together with Johnny. This is a Johnny Storm two-parter.
Oh yes.
Oh, that'll be
Forward to it.
awesome.
But it's like everything Spider-Man is like, oh, I'm gonna this. We're gonna talk about the newest issue this week, and this is a quick time travel two-parter. Then we got a two-parter with his first team up with Johnny Storm since he came back after that. Then we got the ends of the Earth starting after that. Oh,
Good stuff for Spider-Man.
I don't think there's any one Marvel book that is delivering as much, just flat-out excitement with the level of frequency that Spider-Man is delivering it with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that Amazing Spider-Man's pretty good.
I heard tell.
I've heard it.
Glad you
I've heard
listened to me and started reading it.
Yeah, I know. I am too. I'm like, oh, God. So, Ghost Rider, the story that's sadly going away. But I really enjoyed this most recent issue, so I'm going to talk about it. Last issue had left. The Avengers have decided that Ghost Rider is too dangerous to live because they think that she killed the whole village in South America when she was reborn, which she sort of did, but it wasn't really her fault. So they've sent Hawkeye after her because when you're fighting,
He is everywhere.
he
lately.
is,
And that's because he's the one dude who hasn't really had anything to do in a film yet.
yeah, and yet. But
And it's that's somehow going to net him mainstream acknowledgement.
But I
by
know
having him appear in Ghost Rider.
But I know when I think, magic demon needs captured, I want to send Hawkeye.
The guy that shoots arrows.
I want to. So that makes sense. But actually, it sort of makes sense because what they do.
Hawkeye.
Doctor Strange gives him this magic amulet, and he wraps it around one of his arrows and shoots Ghost Rider with it. And it causes her to be paralyzed, revert to her human form, and it basically blocks out her connection to Zarathos. And it doesn't hurt her, because when they take the arrow out, it's going to heal back. They explain all of this in the comic, don't worry. Even though she's laying there bleeding.
With an arrow in her.
With her arrow in her heart.
She used to be Ghost Rider, but then she took an arrow in the knee.
Right, and then she became human paralyzed. So Hawkeye puts her on her flying bike, and he's going to take her back. In the meantime, Johnny Blaze has been kidnapped by these cyborg motorcycle sisters who apparently appeared probably in previous issues of Ghost Rider that I'm not aware of.
They don't ring any bells for me, but... I wouldn't know. My Ghost Rider knowledge is...
I don't know if that's maybe going back to the Dan Ketch. Anyway, one of them's actually dead, so it's like a reanimated corpse, basically.
Dan Ketch, does that sound familiar to you?
So
What did you said something about
there's
bikers or something? What did you say?
cyborg motorcycle sisters. So they're like cyborgs and they're integrated into their motorcycles.
Dude, that sounds like every villain that was in the Dan Ketch.
Doesn't it? It does, doesn't it?
So it could be anybody. If it's not, what's his name? What was his name? Death Watch? Was that his name? If it's not him and it's not the vampire guy, I can't help it.
Right, yeah. If it's not hard, it's... What is it? Blackheart and Death Watch. Yeah, I don't know.
Open Storm.
And Vengeance, the anti.
What was
that's about it.
The one with the crazy guy. Anyway, there was another. Anyway, so they string Johnny between their motorcycles and they're driving full speed at a bullet train to kill him, but Hawkeye saves him because Alejandra talked him into saving Johnny. So the rest of so there's like two parts, sort of a split part of this where in one sense it almost becomes like a buddy team up between Johnny and Hawkeye, which is great because neither of them have powers. So that's kind of fun, to see adventurers, but just using their sort of talents to fight these cyborg motorcycle chicks. But there's a nice part for Alejandra in here because she actually like wills herself to overcome the paralysis and remove the arrow so that she can reignite her connection to
Now, does it have something to do with remembering her painful upbringing?
It mostly has to do with all the people that she killed, but
okay. I was just checking the racistometer.
a lot of this a lot of this, a lot of her drive has to do with the people that died in where it was Nicaragua at the temple.
Can I ask a stupid question real quick?
Sure.
In the middle. So what is like the point of like her Ghost Rider? Like the Dan Ketch, it was like the spirit of vengeance. I'm gonna go get like. Does she have something like that, or is she actually like against like an organization or something? I've not read but like one issue of this Ghost Rider series. So she kind of.
It's not that she's in search, but she has a couple of things behind the scenes. Again, she was handpicked by Adam out of a group of people to become Ghost Rider. And his plan for her was basically to purge the earth of sin and turn everybody into zombies. And in the process of her becoming Ghost Rider, a lot of people, the other people at this temple, were all killed. So some of her motivation is sort of retribution, like making her life worth something to make those deaths worth something as well.
I didn't know if there's like a bad guy that like killed them and then like she's like hunting them down. But as I'm like Incredible Hulking my way through each issue and moving from town to town, I hope.
Well, Adam is still around, and he actually helped reanimate one of these cyborg chicks. So he's kind of pulling some strings behind the scenes, and I think the plan would have been to have him play a larger part. And so I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, there's one. As Chris McFeely informed me, there is one more issue of this. And then she's also going to appear in that 4-part, or that mini-series that's coming up. So
it's not really a mini-series.
It's a 6-part event out of Venom.
In Venom.
Thank you. So she wills like this arrow out of her to become Ghost Rider again. But it's just great. There's a lot of funny lines in here. There's one point at which... when the bikers first get attacked, and they see if I can find it. When they first free Johnny, they're like, "Well, who dares?" And he says, "Arrows. Who do you think dares? Ted Nugent?" So for the rest of the issue, they apparently don't get humor. They refer to Hawkeye as Mr. Nugent. So whenever they're quipping with him, they're like, you thought you could overtake us, Mr. Nugent. Well, great.
Mr. Nugent.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, but eventually Hawkeye and Johnny both get captured. They're being drugged through town. And just in time, Ghost Rider comes in to save them. Now, mind you, she comes to do this on a bullet train. But not just any bullet train. It is her ride. So it is a.
So it's a Hellfire bullet.
It is a Hellfire skull on the front bullet train
Nice.
Awesome.
that she is standing on top and riding. So it's full of flame. Awesome.
I thought you were going to say, what was the Coors, bullet train?
Well, and they've really solidified over the last few issues. I think they finally got a handle on the art, and instead
Who
of
is the artist on this?
it's the same guy as Garabit, Lee.
Name. No,
Garabit.
yeah.
Anyway,
Name sounds familiar. Rings a bell.
but they had. It's kind of hard because you don't. When you're doing a guy, it's easy because you just have a little bit of flame over the skull. But they've actually now sort of solidified it into where it really looks like a mane of flaming hair around
Because
the
how
skull.
else would you tell she was a girl?
Yeah.
Well, no, but it's just it differentiates her at least from some of the from like the other Ghost Riders. I mean, she does have boobs, which it's sort of flaming boobs under the
Fire
jacket.
boobs. We
Flame
talked about
boobs.
this before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
we've
fire-
explained this before.
yeah.
You know what? That just does not sound comfortable to me.
No, boobs made of fire.
No.
No?
That's one of the last things you want to be set on fire. Trust me.
Yeah, probably.
Flaming hot orange fire, like these delicious.
Yeah.
tiny
But she does
brown
have, I mean, but her weapon set and stuff is just damned cool. I mean, she's got like the arm guard. She uses even like a gun in this. She has like a sickle weapon, like a small handheld
is it
sickle.
Johnny Blaze's Hellfire infused shotgun that he had back in the Dan Cat?
No. This was
Talk
just
about-
like a pistol. I don't even know where she got it. But anyway, I mean, it's a solid issue. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of fun between Hawkeye and Johnny, and Johnny sort of at the end of the issue is going to help Alejandra essentially sort of become like her. I think they even, what did they say, like her Yoda basically to, or her Mr. Miyagi or whatever to try and, if you will, to kind of teach her how to use her powers and stuff. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I mean, it's a nice, fun, issue. It's not maybe as heavy as maybe what some people would want Ghost Rider to be. I think Ghost Rider has that tendency, just like Daredevil, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, to fall into that, it's got to be hardcore. It's got to be, it's all about demons and hellfire and stuff. And I think this has shown a more, not lighthearted into comedy, but definitely approachable.
Well, I don't think you can ever really take Ghost Rider to that place because
No.
he was grim when he started out. With Daredevil, it's very much a regression to what he used to be like just before Frank Miller came along. But Ghost Rider has always been demons and hellfire. There's no escaping that.
No,
really.
there's not.
And
But
whenever
I think,
you start to
pretty
be goofy, it's just sort of.
But I think- I think
the
you can-
only reason I like the Dan Ketch run so much is because I like the idea of like this thing happens and then it's like almost more of a curse than it is a blessing. It screws up his whole life.
yeah, he needed it for
and then-
one thing, and then it just sort of consumed the rest of his life.
Yeah, and I that's why I really stick to the Dan Ketch stuff. But one thing I was going to ask you is that, so what does it say that, like the next issue looks like it may be the last issue, right?
It is.
Well,
yeah.
it is the last issue for the run, correct.
So what does it say that the Ghost Rider comic is like getting canceled right when the next Ghost Rider movie's coming out? I mean, couldn't they have just like let it last a little
that's
bit
true.
longer? Just to see what happens.
It's just in
Maybe-
time. I mean, it's just in time. The movie will hit. You get that last 2 issue in March.
I mean,
So
it looks
they've.
like just like at least let it run like a couple more months, and you see like you get maybe like a pickup. In
Well, if
readers or
issue
something.
9 sells, well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of crafty, really, because the film will come out. If people want some Ghost Rider stuff, they go to the store, they can pick up the Venom crossover, so then they'll get a sample in a Red Hulk, X-23, and Venom as well, so that it'll give them a sample of things. And then there's another issue of Ghost Rider in March, and if they pick that up too, and if the sales are good enough on it, then Marvel will have a good focus to look and see if there's any reason to bring it back.
Yeah,
They won't. It won't, and they
No,
won't.
it won't, and they won't. But and there's also no connection to the film whatsoever. I mean, it's not. I mean, you see Johnny in it, and Johnny's in some of this, but Alejandra's not Johnny, and so it's different. But I'm hopeful that she'll remain in the universe and that they'll keep her
I was
around.
just going to ask you, where would you think that they're going to put her?
You know,
Avengers Academy. Why not? That's where everyone else is.
So, like, I wonder if they're gonna like Spider Girl her, where like her comic gets canceled, then there's like these protests to bring it back, then the comic comes back for 5 issues, it gets canceled again. Lady Ghost.
You know, actually,
Girl.
actually, as she's disappearing, Hawkeye does seem to be suggesting that she should join the Academy because he does say that the Avengers could help her. So. I don't know. She's not that old. I think she's probably too old for like the high school academy kids.
Okay, I didn't buy that comic past the first issue, but you know what? I would be happy to have her be in Avengers Academy.
It would kind of be cool, wouldn't it? I mean, you know, I think she would fit in. I mean, she would probably fit in really well, actually, in Avengers Academy, considering the histoy of all the other characters.
Her and X-23, they'd be buddies.
Oh my god. They would either hate each other or they would really get along. I guess we'll find out in Venom, but so there you go. Check it out. I mean, if nothing else, you know, check out the Venom, you know, 6-part that's coming up, and we'll see how, you know, she is in that.
Venom is on a real roll. You know, Rick Remender is on a real roll with the stuff he's doing at the minute. Uncanny X-Force, Venom, he's taking over Secret Avengers now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to follow Ed Brubaker, Nick Spencer, and Warren Ellis, you know, you have to be doing something right.
Yeah.
Not that it's much of a tough act to follow, given the general baseline standard of Secret Avengers, unfortunately, but it seems like if there's anybody who's going to turn the book around, it's going to be him.
Yep. So
should I keep the book or should I cancel it, you think?
That's up to you.
I was gonna cancel when the Ellis stuff was done because I liked it, but you know, I was like, too many Avengers books, too many Avengers.
We have another one coming.
Yeah, and there's going to be more and more. So, all right, very cool. All right, Chris McFeely, sir.
Yeah, I'm keeping it light this week because the end is near, so we must devote as much time to it as possible before the axe falls. It's Tiny Titans, ladies and gentlemen. It's issue 48, Tiny Titans.
Actually keeping it tiny is what you should have said.
Yeah.
You know?
That'll work. But they're tiny, so they're quite light.
Yeah.
It is the Titans Unmasked issue and the Big Red Hair issue, in which it's Batgirl simply wanders into the treehouse one day and tells Starfire, Shimmer, and Flamebird, "It's time I reveal my true identity." Point. And off comes the mask. I mean, never mind the fact that she has been unanimously known as Barbara for the entire run, because that's what they do with any character who shares a code name with somebody. You know, that's why it's been Wonder Girl and Cassie. And Cassandra.
It'd be great if like she took the mask off and it was like, oh, never mind. You were talking about Cassandra King. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's been Cassie and Barbara. That they called her Cassie when she was in it, so they distinguished them. But it's like this is whenever they never noticed for some reason that she had red hair before until the mask comes on.
Yeah,
and then they all realize they all have red hair. But Wonder Girl feels a little bit left out because she doesn't have red hair, but she does have an orange.
But not any orange.
Not just any orange. A secret orange.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to admit, I didn't get this joke. But, you know, she holds the orange up to her ear and it goes... It tells her secrets, you know. But if I was to rephrase it thusly, secret files and oranges. You would get the joke, but I didn't get the joke. And I was like, what is going on with the orange? But the orange is a whole thing. But anyway, they all go, they treat it like a magic 8-ball throughout the issue. They go off to Barbara's secret bat lair to try on other costumes other than their own, just to try on outfits, real clothes. That's why it's the Titans Unmasked issue. So everybody gets their masks off, and they dress up in, well, they actually find a trunk of Commissioner Gordon's old styles. And they dress up in all these 70s flares and platform boots and mirror balls and things.
You gotta love it. It's like a little disco.
You know, we get a little look at Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara, just wondering what's on for tonight, you know. And Chief O'Hara, where have I seen those wildly stylish, fashionable outfits before? Oh, don't you remember, Commissioner, when we would hit the town as party guys, strolling the streets like cats on the prowl?
I just like it how they have paintbrushes.
Yeah,
Cats on the Prowl, it involves paint and paintbrushes.
Well, because they're going to go get the town red.
Awesome.
Love it. Love it.
But then it's like the whole focus just turns over to oranges again, and Wonder Girl just has her orange. Faster than a speeding bullet! Whoop! More powerful than a locomotive! And she just drops the orange on a toy train.
It's one powerful orange, I tell ya.
It's a super orange! And she just pulls up the orange with a little Superman cape on it. Who disguised as a mild-mannered reporter? And she puts a big pair of glasses on the orange. Because it's all about secret identities again. And what's his name? I was going to call him Zorana, but that's G.I. Joe.
Zartan.
Zartan, either. What's Zatanna's...
Zatara? Is that his name?
Is it Zatara?
Is that Zatara?
Zatara.
Feels like it's G.I. Joe. Okay, well...
Zatara. Zatara.
Zatara, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's
The guy magician is what you're saying. The guy magician.
Yeah.
just sort of stares blankly, and he's like, super oranges? Really? And he's like, yeah, I'm with you, guy. I do not know, because I hadn't got the joke. And I was like, what are you doing? And she just says, yeah, well, he's part of the secret oranges of the Justice League. And she points, and there's a load of oranges dressed up as
That's
Batman.
so
Oh
cute.
my god.
This is just too cute.
All the Titans put on glasses to hide their identities while they're out in their vintage stylish fatigues. Wonder Girl decides she needs a new costume and goes to annoy Zatara to get one, but he doesn't recognize her because she's still
This
wearing
is probably my favorite moment right here, because her vintage costume included stuff from the Flintstones.
Yeah, well, they put her through Zatara magics her up a series of new outfits. You know, what do you want, jeans and a t-shirt like your cousin? No, jeans and a t-shirt! Caveman outfits, Roman outfits, and then they put her a classic variation on the Wonder Girl outfit.
Yeah, so cute.
And then the issue just that's it for costumes, and then the issue just ends. And this is one of the single best moments I think possibly in all of Tiny Titans. No, a glimpse into the future already in progress. The battle between the secret oranges of the Justice League versus the League of Justice Cows.
Oh my god.
If you remember from past issues or past episodes, we have met the various League of Justice Cows members before. Bat Cow, the cow that wound up with a Batman cowl on. Aqua Cow, the cow from beneath the sea. I don't remember what the name of the cow with its head on fire is, but it came from the center of the earth when they went down there one time. Each of them with their own skills, each with their own powers, each with their own new member. Huck! It's an orange lantern, orange with an orange power ring!
It was awesome. That was awesome. Come on.
Wow.
And he's brought the lantern core, C-O-R-E, an apple core flies in with a little
Yeah.
It's Bat Cow Beyond from the future, coming to help the Justice Cows. It's just a cow dressed as Batman Beyond. And it turns they're all under the mind control of the evil orange Slade and the evil red grapefruit Trigon with their evil mind control box. It's mayhem, utter chaos, and Bat Cow Beyond triumphs. And then Wonder Girl wakes up screaming.
You know what?
Oh,
I love that Bat Cow because my gosh, that is the
my
coolest
God.
Bat Cow.
Bat Cow Beyond. I gotta hold it up for the readers at home.
Oh
That's
my,
awesome.
that is brilliant.
I want a Bat
Much
plushie.
the issue, yeah. So I'm just keeping it like, there's no analysis to be applied to Tiny Titans. Just I didn't get the freaking joke until I think I had to read somebody getting it online before I got it, and then I went back and read the issue again.
I gotta say that the last page is pretty funny. Did you dream about a Bat Cow? I dreamed about her sidekick once.
Yeah, that did happen. Robin dreamed he was Bat Cow's
Cow
sidekick.
sidekick. Oh,
Exists
Go.
too, I think. I can't remember. I think Bat Cow really exists. Definitely Aqua Cow and Fiery-Headed Cow exist.
Wow.
And I always like seeing the fan pages in the back as well, where we get the art sent in by real children that read comics.
oh, I do too.
Yeah, kids love Kid Flash as well, because there's two. There's normally only one, but there's two this issue, and there's a dedicated page of Kid Flash fan art as well. They're clearly not thinking of the poor children when they're planning to cancel Tiny Titans.
Yeah.
I think it's so sad. My comic book guy is like, it's very sad because he's like, this is the best comic that DC is putting out. I gotta admit, it's awesome. I gotta admit, it's a fun comic, and it's just sad that they're getting rid of it. I think we should protest that.
Years.
And there's
And
more.
I know the creators are moving on to something else as well, so, I just don't know if it'll ever be quite as charming as Tiny Titans was, but it's not over yet, and we will talk about the last issue when it comes out, I'm sure, but,
Yeah.
that's this issue, that's the secret oranges issue. Orange,
Wow.
like these delicious tangy cheese flavored Doritos brand corn chips.
That are colored orange with orange 4.
If
Awesome.
you do oranges, you should have done Cheetos. Then you could have got orange fingers.
Yeah, but this is your bag.
Yeah.
Good handle of comics, then.
Yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show review.
Woo!
Amazing Spider-Man 678. It's another
Wow.
two-parter.
Good old 50 years of Spider-Man on the cover.
Yeah, buddy.
I killed tomorrow, part 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say right off the bat of this is I think that one thing that this series benefits from as far as Dan Slott writer is that Dan Slott lives in Manhattan. He lives in New York. And you really, it's one of those things that when you have a writer that's like lived there and lives and breathes New York, it just reads different, because it really grounds Peter in New York. I mean, this is where he was born, lived, raised. I mean, this is his life. And you can, at the very beginning of this issue, you can definitely see it, what it feels like to be walking around the streets of Manhattan. And
It's funny because I was just watching the Spider-Man film before I came on tonight, and excuse me,
Bless you.
it had that again, excuse me, it had that really corny scene in it where all the New Yorkers team up to throw shit at the Green Goblin to stop him from attacking Spider-Man, which was like just born out of post 9/11 solidarity,
right.
and it
Yeah.
just sort of
Yeah.
just stuck out like this weird sore thumb in the middle of the film. Versus all the
Issue
stuff Scott
36.
is doing in this, like, what was that?
Issue 36.
Don't know what you're doing.
That's the black issue of Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, that's not, shush. Doctor Doom did not cry. Doom merely had something in Doom's eye.
Yeah. I always remember like Kingpin like helping in that issue.
Yeah.
Like, move some
Yeah.
rubble
No,
or something.
no,
I'll
one
never
thing-
forget that. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Kingpin helping moving some rubble.
Actually, I'm pretty sure he was just standing there looking, but it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I thought he was like helping. I thought he was actually there helping or something.
Well, he was there. He was there, right in the middle of
Yeah.
it, but he was sort of standing there, and I'm like,
Okay.
no, terrorist. Actually, that guy is supposed to be blind and dead right now, officer. Maybe we, contemplate.
So, but he definitely there's the 2-page spread, the title page. You get this
Definitely
great.
was of Daredevil #1 here. I think they're deliberately
Yeah.
trying to evoke that.
Yeah, that 4-dimensional feel where you can see him moving
Not
through the
nearly as
streets.
successfully, it must be said.
No, but I think it gives you that sense of moving through the city, and you
Yeah, it's
know,
good.
It
The quest
feels.
are at the bottom left-hand corner of the page, and then there's just this. I mean, maybe if this building is supposed to be a real building, and I knew what it was, it would mean something. But it does look like a lot of empty space. That I mean, obviously, I don't know if they're deliberately trying to evoke it. I reckon they probably were. But if I'm supposed to be drawing comparisons to Daredevil #1 off this, Daredevil #1 wins by a mile.
Oh yeah, but I don't think so. No, I'm sure this is legit. I mean, I
No,
can't-
no, I don't doubt that it is, but it is just a large building that I don't know, picking up 2/3, 3/4 of the double-page spread.
But as far as the issue goes, so
Yeah.
the story is starts out with Peter's on what do they call it? Double D,
Double D,
Double D.
double check duty. Yeah.
double check duty,
Yeah.
where they team up with someone who's who's basically ready to present their product or their idea, and they sort of just double check their figures and everything and make sure that they're on the right track. So he's working with
So that nobody
sure they
makes
don't-
a Victor Von Doom and blow their
Yeah.
face.
Face Off. I love that line. It was just like, oh,
Learn the lessons the scientific community has learned. From its
it's great. So he's working with Grady, who I don't know. I mean, basic fanboy sort of geek analog here. I mean, but but brilliant nonetheless. So Grady has invented the doorway to the break room of tomorrow. Tomorrow.
The break room of tomorrow, huh?
Well, no. The doorway to the break room of tomorrow. Because it's not the break room that's special, like Peter thinks. It's the doorway. Because the doorway actually jumps you 24 hours into the future. And, Grady shows this by going into the break room and getting tomorrow's paper and, showing Peter. And there's like a picture of Silver Sable and J. Jonah Jameson on the front and whatever. So Peter's like, wow, this really is the thing. He's like, well, let me check it out. Goes through the door. As soon as he walks through the door, devastation. The entire city is just rubble. Like the instant he walks through the door. So it takes him a minute to figure it out, but it's absolutely brilliant. Because what Peter figures out, and Grady helps as well, is that when he walked through the door, in terms of the timeline, he actually skipped that 24 hours. So something that he did in that 24-hour period didn't prevent this cataclysmic future to happen.
Yeah, like it's a 24 hours in which, Peter Parker wasn't there. And the reason it didn't change when Grady went through and Grady makes the fun little comment.
All I do is eat pizza, watch Doctor Who, and what was the other thing?
Play Uncharted 3, yeah.
Play Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He's like, what's so important about you? He's like, I'm friends with Spider-Man.
So
they actually make a Doctor Who reference?
Oh, yes.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, there's actual...
Oh, man, and I missed it.
Yeah.
Dang it.
So Peter goes... He's like, okay, we'll fix it. So he goes back through the door, and that still doesn't fix it. So he goes through and gets a watch, so they find out what time all of this happens, and he makes a reference to Hiroshima about all the watches stopping. So then it becomes a team-up where they've got the newspaper from tomorrow. So he's got...
Good Tuesday newspaper.
Yeah.
To prevent Bad Tuesday. That's the whole point.
Yeah, to prevent Bad Tuesday. So...
Yeah.
So basically the entire issue is Peter running around doing all the stuff that the newspaper says that Spider-Man does, with Grady coaching him through the newspaper. Of which there's even one point though where Julia Carpenter shows up, and basically it's brilliant because she just shows up to basically say, "Yeah, you got to fix this." And he's like, "Well, how?" She's like, "I can't tell you that."
And she's not,
Julia Carpenter never used to be this much of an annoying bitch. Seriously, just tell him.
And she's like,
I'm really, really glad that in this issue, Slott has. It's not like I'm accusing him of actually having forgotten it, but there has been no point of correlation between Madam Web Julia and the Julia that existed for 20 years beforehand, because she has just fallen into this all-seeing oracle, spouter of mystic, indistinct nonsense. So I'm glad that in this issue we're reminded she's actually got a daughter at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been wondering that for all the amount of time she's been popping up in her fedora and her shades and her fucking Carmen Sandiego getup, and I'm like, where's your kid? Where's your kid? That kid used to be your life. Where's your kid?
Well, and she even says here that she's like astral projecting too. So the kid's homesick. And she's actual.
I don't wear my jacket today and everything. They're like, what I'm wearing now.
But basically, yeah, she shows up to tell Spider-Man, look, you got to fix this. He's like, well, how do I fix it? I can't tell you that. and he's like, well, I got to get the Avengers and stuff. Yeah, you can't do that either. Because they got stuff they're doing.
I got to evacuate all my friends. No,
yeah, that's not. Yeah, you can't do that either. And in fact, we're staying. So if you don't fix it, then you're going to blow us up too. And so good luck. so it's awesome. And she doesn't even instill a lot of confidence, where even she says, she's like, I know you can save us. And he's like, can, but not will.
Oh wow.
So Peter purse snatchers, car accidents, he stops Facade, which
that's great.
is great.
Oh my god, I laughed for 5 minutes. Facade. Facade is this thing from I don't even remember which creators run on Spidey. It was like the late 80s or the early 90s. I think it was as late as that. Facade was this mystery villain. You didn't know who was under the mask. They played on it for ages, and then they just dropped the plot thread and creator shift or whatever, and it never got revealed. And it's in this one as Spidey's got him wailed up, and he says, "After all this time, you finally defeated me, and now, once and for all, you shall know the secret of Facade, that I am really... Later! I'm on the clock!"
And even at the footnote, there's a bottom. This says Facade, because it's a note, Facade.
Acclamation combat. No,
Who cares?
Nobody cares. Brilliant.
Awesome.
I love that he has to beat like Daredevil's stopping at purse snatchers, his record.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, 11 purse snatchers in one day. That's number 8. You know.
Yeah. Delivers a baby. You know?
Wow.
You know, and then, but in the midst of all of this, he's still trying to figure out what to do. So we see the picture from the parade with Silver Sable and J. Jonah Jameson, and then there's this cut panel with Flag Smasher.
Flag Smasher! Flag Smasher is really hanging about the Spidey books. He was in the he was in the one with Venom.
Mm-hmm.
He was in something the first, and then he was in the Venom.
Remember in
the
Venom,
point
he lost his
lost
his hand in Venom. So
and
does
then
he
he was
have
in
like
the
a mace on his hand now?
yeah, but this isn't the first time he's appeared because he was in the Avengers tie-in issue for Spider Island as well.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
Hawkeye kicked his ass, but so he does have a mace on his arm now in place of the one Venom bit off.
So all of this stuff though that Peter's done, nothing's changed, and he's still like trying to. So apparently it's all these bombs that Ultimatum and Flag Smasher have set up, but he doesn't know that yet, and the issue just like ends with like Peter trying to figure it out and nothing.
I haven't seen so great a cliffhanger in ages, honestly. I'm really ready for the next issue of this now.
Literally though, and I mean I was not like lightly making the reference. Like it literally felt like a Doctor Who episode where it's like I got to the end and it's like tick tick tick. Yeah, and I was like, oh, the music! I heard it in my head. I'm like, oh my god, can't do this to me. So
it doesn't even finish saying "to be continued." It just goes "to be continued."
Yep, like
to be continued.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. I love the cover for the next issue too. Him like trying to stop the hands.
yes.
that's a
Flicking
great
time.
cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
That's
that
an
is
awesome cover.
that's probably the best cover of the year so far. That one's going to be a
Yeah,
candidate
that's-
for best of the year at the end of the year, I think.
Because you know it's going to be a great issue, and then that's just a great cover to go with it. That's
But-
Great image, great visual metaphor, and everything.
And there's lots of great lines and stuff in this. So don't think we've given everything away. I mean, you definitely need to pick it up.
I mean, this is actually a really great one to just pick up and go with Spider-Man.
Yeah, if you have not been reading Spider-Man, this is a great.
You can with Spidey anyway. You normally can just pick it up and go pretty much. Like last issue was a great one to go with too. Although it was a Daredevil crossover thing, you actually picked up 2 comics really. But this one, you get the
That's
full.
what I did.
You don't need to worry about what he's caught up doing in the surrounding plot lines. You're told everything you need to know about Horizon Labs, and you can just pick this up and go. Tell you one of the great little touches in this actually, which we didn't mention, but which is again a textbook example of how you should do something. Is Peter finds what we said already? Peter finds a watch in Bad Tuesday, and he sees when it stops, and he realizes when he gets back that it's Max's. Max Modell is boss, and he says he stops and looks at the watch, and Max Modell says, "Oh, my partner Hector gave it to me. Nice birthday." Oh, that's right. On with the plot. It's like, oh, I guess Max is gay. Well, on with the plot we go. We didn't have.
Yeah,
to
we didn't
hold
even
it.
leave that.
Or anything.
Yep.
What's that?
Okay, so I got
They're a normal, ordinary member of society. How progressive!
Yeah. Don't.
So personal opinion with you guys, because I've just recently started reading Spider-Man. Well, with Ultimate. Do you prefer Ultimate or Amazing?
Amazing, 100%.
I think
right.
Amazing. I like Ultimate different. I mean, this last issue of Ultimate came out this week as well.
Well, that's barely even a valid question anymore. Because Ultimate is a different thing entirely now.
Yeah,
If
totally
you asked
different
us this
product.
a year ago, it was Peter Parker, and that was when Ultimate, like I say, a year ago, for instance, Ultimate was actually no, Peter died about a year ago, hadn't he? Well, okay,
Yeah.
a year and a half, but then whatever.
Like when Peter Parker was in it, it was like 110%. It's like amazing. I mean, even Ultimate was still good, but it's like it felt like Amazing was the Spider-Man book, and now like you're saying,
Ultimate
yeah,
was still struggling to find a reason to be following, everything that was going on over in Amazing. It's been widely acknowledged and debated. There was nowhere near as much distinction between the two books anymore. It's not like Amazing was doing things, Ultimate was doing the things you couldn't do with Amazing because Peter was young and single again or whatever, because post Mephisto that's the way it was. So, Ultimate's really found its purpose and will to move forward with something new again in Miles Morales. So they're totally different books now, but it's still amazing anyway. I mean, if you're judging on pure quality, it's amazing, but as Spider-Man books,
Ultimate is good. It's great. I'm glad that we've got two really good Spider-Man books. But if I had to choose one, yeah, it's totally amazing.
Although I will say that I horribly missed Sarah Pacelli this month.
I like Samney. He did a good job.
He did good, but I don't know. I really got attached to her art style.
Oh, she's fantastic. I love her, but.
So
is she coming back, or did she just do the?
Oh, she is.
Arc?
Yeah.
She's coming. Yeah, she's coming back.
Yeah, because I like her art better, but this art's fine. I had
no, it's good. I like it different, but it was just I like her art.
And there's a good issue of Ultimate Spidey as well. I'm interested to see this new Ultimate Scorpion. I was thinking the Ultimate Scorpion was going to be, what had happened next to the Peter Parker clone that was the last Ultimate Scorpion, but this looks like it's an entirely different guy.
Yeah, a different thing. So.
Because I'm reading Ultimate, but I swore I wasn't going to do Spider-Man in my lifetime, but
no,
I've sworn a lot of
stuff.
things, but they're putting some, the books that I would have never thought I would have read. That's the ones they're putting the top creators on, and the ones that you're really looking at and you should be reading. Spidey in the X-Men, Batman, Daredevil.
Yeah. Uncanny X-Men was good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It was always like the sideline stuff that was good for a while there in Marvel, but now they've really made their lead stuff good. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Who would think? You make your leading character books really good.
People will talk about them. Concept
on this show. So.
Well, I was a sucker and picked up Daredevil, so.
You were smart.
Yeah.
Get an extra dose of Spidey in that one as well. Did I not tell you guys 6 months ago Matt Murdock gets a hell of a lot of poontang?
Yeah, you did.
Hey, God.
That was great at the end of the issue. I just love Spidey's comment.
Yeah, Daredevil and Black Cat hook up, and Spidey quietly watches and says to himself, they don't know he's there, I think this is my supervillain origin.
Oh, I love that part. That was awesome.
Oh, brilliant.
Like I told Jill earlier today, if I had to pick my two favorite comics, it's Amazing and it's Daredevil. That's it.
And hey, we got to...
He's amazing, and it's always Daredevil, and I hope it stays that way, because they're great.
We found out a little more about the Omega Effect crossovers. Well, it's not really enough to go in the news, but we know now that it's just a 3-part story in the month of April between Avenging Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher, which is going to center around the Omega Drive, which is the device Daredevil currently has in his possession.
Ah.
Yeah. Which is what Black Cat trying to steal from him.
Yeah, does Black Cat have it?
Or that, yes. And just another dimension, actually, now that we brought up Daredevil, Volume 1 of Wade's Run, first 6 issues, out in hardback this week. Get it.
Oh.
Buy it now.
Nicole,
it's
JD.
Awesome.
Might have to do that. So.
Talking to you guys.
I've got way too much on my plate as it is.
Don't make me turn the camera towards the giant stack I'm sitting next to again. This is no
Unfortunately, your video froze.
I'm picking up a stack full of comics each week. Come on.
And we're since we don't get to talk about Daredevil this week, also it's awesome that device that makes the holograms, and then it's like, oh, you can't hit me if you can't see me, and then Daredevil just has that.
Yeah.
It's like the villains are pissed by Daredevil. They do anything. He can't hit what he can't see, and they bring up an entire field of holograms, and all you see is a close up on Daredevil.
Dr. Doom.
Bullseye and the Sandman, the freaking Red Hulk's in there, dude. It would just smile.
Daredevil just grins, and but the best thing is you turn the page and he's already beating them up. They don't waste time with it. It's like,
Yeah.
you readers know what happened, and that it's things like that that make Daredevil. There's no
It's
waste.
so good.
Daredevil.
It's a must buy book. It's so awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. The mole.
No, I can't have any more must buys. I cannot have any more must buys.
That's it. Yeah, I got to redo my pull list as well. So, but I'm gonna cut some things and
that's
grab
good.
some others. So.
I will pick up Daredevil if you guys pick up Turtles.
I am getting Turtles. I need to get caught up on it. I haven't read the last 2 issues of it.
So, awesome.
Awesome. It made me cry.
All right. Well, we have gone overtime once again, as we.
Not too bad.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Started late, remember, so not really.
Yeah, I guess so. So, anyway, it's good. It's good. Good week. Good fun stuff. So, that's our show, I guess, for this week. Like I said, if you want more thoughts on Atrocity, if you happen to like that stuff.
Atrocity.
Just thinking about mentioning Radio Free Cybertron, Amy gave a review on there, and then I gave my review as well. So, if you're looking for thoughts on that.
You called it Atrocity.
Isn't it?
Autocracy?
Ah! Well.
It's autocracy.
Autocracy! Oh my god!
Freudian slip. Anyway,
Tell you about the quality of the book.
I hate the art. What do I have to say? Anyway, okay, so Autocracy. Thank you. Check that out on Radio Free Cybertron from this week. Make sure you check out New Soundwave as well. Whole new format on the show. Really cool. Really like what they're doing. Yeah, so that's about it.
Check out the delicious tangy cheese flavored Doritos.
And cheese flavored Doritos. Unfortunately, Chris McFeely's video is frozen, or I'm sure he was showing those up if you're watching the video.
Oh, well, I was, but that's irrelevant. Here they are again.
Okay. And still, we can hear them. I can hear them.
Yeah.
Crystalline.
The frozen video looks like he's looking for the chips, though.
Yeah, I know.
I know, it's just like, where's that?
Trying to grab at those. So, anyway, yeah, thanks for listening so much. Again, website, fanboyversus.com. Get all the back issues of our show, if you want to call it
all
issues.
the back issues.
Yeah, going back 87 was this
Wow,
this episode.
that's awesome.
I know.
So we're not too far off 100.
I know. We're getting
It's
so close.
about time for a relaunch because we're losing readers. We got too many numbers.
That's right. Yes. We should do. I have to do that now. We'll do that after issue 100. We'll do that after the 100th episode.
You Fanboy Versus.
So yes,
Dark Fanboy
all
Versus.
different.
we'll do it.
Fanboy 2.0.
We'll do an Elseworlds Fanboy Versus.
Young Fanboy Versus.
And the list goes on. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning
Fanboy
in.
Versus Gotham by Gaslight, and we all wear top hats.
There you
There you go.
Oh man.
I'm all for that.
Welcome to...
Oh my god. Awesome. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, and please join us next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.